two elements to this. 55,000 of the 85 actually equates to the removal of and stopping the support of group things around the borough, and the other £30,000 equates to reviewing the gritter plans that we have and actually reducing the fleet of gritters and the corresponding length of the roads that we've lit from 10 down to 9 routes.
Thank you. Yeah, Eddie.
Just one quickie, please, Chair. This depends on what the winter's going to be like. So it's a big question mark on what the figure's going to be, because if we have a good winter, we won't spend. If we have a bad winter, we've got to spend.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that in the slightest. At the end of the day, there has to be a contingency in there to cover bad winters. But once we've got rid of the gritters, then we can actually bring it back into operation even when we do have a bad winter. But it does. How do we deal with bad winters, Mark?
Through you, Chair, the approach that we've adopted as a council for a very long time now, I think it's just been universally supported by all political parties over time, is that in our budgets we actually cater for what we deem to be an average winter, and we know what that looks like, and we have an allocation specifically for that. If we do run into certainly an adverse winter, then we do actually go back to Cabinet and Council and actually ask for additional funding from reserves if and when we need it. Thank you.
Hi, Chair. I'm just wondering how we compare to other councils in
Through you, Chair, there's, in terms of all highway authorities have a statutory obligation around keeping highways free of snow and ice, and certainly those main roads. You should actually see pretty much a uniform, very similar approach across the board in all highway authorities. I guess the one thing I would say is that sometimes, in fairness to our winter maintenance team, sometimes when we do have unexpected surprise weather and snowfalls and things like that, there have been some well-publicised examples where other authorities have been caught out. And actually on the wheel we've got a very experienced team here under Sean Brady and colleagues who really have done an exemplary of years.
Can I just ask about the provision of group bins? Do other local authorities provide group bins?
Yes, as far as we're aware, Chair, absolutely, and a lot of this will depend on the geographical location. On the Wirral, we tend to have fairly mild winters by comparison. Certainly we have colleagues that have worked in places like Lancashire and Cumbria and places like that where the winters present much different challenges, and certainly group bins provided by the local highway authority are a key part of the strategy there.
Sorry, just one other question. Do you have a legal obligation to provide group bins?
No.
Thank you.
And just to complete these proposals are for the 14-15 budget. So for this winter, we will be filling the group in as per usual. So it'd be interesting to compare. I mean, it does all come down to the impact of the winter, but it does seem to be a bit of an arbitrary thing to take away. One. Chris, but nevertheless.
Yeah, I mean, it really is a very sensitive subject and a difficult subject to deal with. Irrespective of the resources we have, if we get extreme weather in the extreme, Mother Nature will defeat anything we can do to slightly mitigated. And hence, when we did have a really bad winter, a couple of bad winters, there was a genuine need for people to want to self-help. That's where the grip bins, the location of the grip bins come from. People said, look, we don't stand idly by being ruined in our house or our road. We'll help you out if you give us the wherewithal to do it. And that's where the idea came from for the location of grip bins. Through the area forums, grip bins were allocated in what the local people see as spots where they wanted. Many of them weren't particularly on slopes, but somewhere on a slopes or where there was a dangerous junction that did get missed out, and others were around the shopping areas where people wanted to self-help. My view, and I think it may have been discussed at the work group, whether it's minuted or not, is that we've got a round of area forums or neighbourhood forums taking place, and we've had some of that on back to them. If neighbourhood forums want them and can find key locations and want to sponsor them as a maintain service, give them that option from their sort of budgets. When budgets gets involved, we may make that decision. But there are certainly, I believe, some of the grip bins that were wrongly located and been vandalised and are more of a nuisance than they are good. So I wouldn't throw all the proposals at, but it is a highly sensitive thing. Whatever happens, bad weather will overtake any resources we can, but it's this feeling of helplessness by individuals who want to do something to help out, who want to help people get back out as soon as they can. So that's why the grip bin idea was my idea, actually.
Now I know who's to blame. We did go a little bit gung-ho with grip bins, but I mean, you're right. It's another example of where just getting rid of the grip bins per se is probably not quite the right decision, because there are some locations where there should be grip bins. There are others where we put them where probably they don't really have a great deal to do what we've done. Denise, did you wish to?
No, I was going to say some of them are in the central places, because I've got you know to know them.
Through you, Chairman, just to clarify, are we getting rid of the grip bins that are already out? Or just not replacing any already in the unit?
Yes, sorry, Chair, just to be absolutely clear, if it helps, the premise here is, the issue we've got is that on an ongoing basis, we have to spend revenue, we've got to keep spending money to keep those bins filled. So very simply, the premise behind the option is just that we will stop supporting the regular filling of the bins. I think as Councillor Founts has alluded to, absolutely, if via the neighbourhood constituency committees or the other pots of money, obviously there's certainly no need to remove the bins, but it's just that the council wouldn't be using its mainstream revenue money to keep filling these bins with stock.
Steve.
Yeah, thanks. To expand on what Steve just said, I think it was his idea actually, but a lot of people in our ward, when they came in, because as Steve said, they were done through the neighbourhood and they liked them, they sort of took a pride in them, and there was nearly a placebo effect. We found that even when they were empty and the snow was there, people go around, they knew they were empty, but we've got a grip bin. I mean, they were no good, but it was here, and they were pleased with the council because they got a grip bin, even though it was easy. And some went even as far as filling them themselves. So I think to leave them there is definitely the right idea. And because the people sort of were involved in where they were placed and had asked us and got what they wanted, it made a big difference.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I think it's, again, picking up what we talk about in constituency committees, but it is something that, if nothing else, they should be promoting that sort of self-help approach, because undoubtedly that is one way that we will have to move future. I read a press release today about what you're supposed to do in brown bin. Use it, so it didn't mention anything about putting grit in it for the winter, but it's an excellent use.
Is the cost the physical act of filling the bins up rather than the grit? Because then Steve's point becomes valid. That, if voluntary group, the community group are willing to go and fill the bowl,
the top of my head, I don't know what the split is. It's both. There's an element of materials and then there's an element of filling up. I guess the only
Drive past the docks.
the only
Equipment that's hard to fill up. Ain't going to thin that.
there's a general point around, obviously, we use our highways contractor at the time to go around and actually fill these bins up, and they do a large number of them in one go. But you're absolutely right, it's the cost of this all, as well as the labour cost and the rating our highways contractors for them.
I think their group and our comments are all being noticed, I assume, and that's where we're at.
Okay, thank you. All done, all done. The next one I said we have, I'm going to talk about, so I'm not going to talk about. The next one after that is the housing strategy standard dual team. £206,000. Ian, having read when I read your comments, this does seem to me it's quite a hard ask actually to make this thing.
Yes, Chair. What it does is it recognises this is a team that's got a long title, and it's the amalgamation of a number of teams that have been in operation over a number of years within the housing division. However, it also recognises that some of the larger scale previous government funding for housing programmes such as HMRI have come to an end and are no longer there for us to utilise, and therefore the level of activity is inevitably reduced as well. But on the other side of it, this involves up to 7 staff, as the report says, and it constitutes around about 25% of the size of the team now. The team carries out a variety of activity ranging across those service areas, from the information we have to gather from us, for which we have a statutory duty around understanding housing needs and the condition of the stock in Wirral, to developing strategies to then develop partnerships with organisations like housing associations and developers to build new homes in Wirral. It very much also supports the work of social care and health colleagues in terms of bringing supported housing to Wirral as well. And it's very much the forefront of attracting investment from government and other agencies in terms of investments in Wirral. Some of the activity that we've developed over the last few years also has been particularly pertinent to Wirral, which is largely private sector area in terms of the housing stock. And there's been a lot of successes in terms of addressing empty property, landlord accreditation work with associated the private landlords in the area, and in a project such as Healthy Homes, which is about a multi-agency approach to identifying the risks that people's homes provide or present to vulnerable people, and addressing those, say, on a multi-agency basis. There's been a lot of successes in the team, but as I say, it does recognise that level of investment that's enjoyed in terms of the development programme, if you like, is no longer available. But what we've decided to do is we've taken, in the spirit of trying to achieve savings, there's been a reduction in management of this team in the previous round, and this is about trying to reduce the size of the frontline staff as well. It cuts across the different grades within the section, but what we'll have to do is revise job descriptions so that they're more generic, so that the team can be more sort of proactive and reactive, if you like, to the workload, and be able to sort of operate on a far more generic basis. So on that basis we present that as a proposal for savings and taking questions.
Questions? No?
With this saying is that if there were to be housing initiatives, government-led housing initiatives, and we remove this team, we would very quickly be left not being able to produce the scheme. As we work to get to HMRI, and all the initiatives that come now, while the coalitions, it would appear that it would be the private sector very much to be the answer, not negativism. That seems to be paraphrasing the general trend. But if we did have a change of government, and there was a reinvestment in social housing, or through the public sector, I think we would very much start replenishing the scheme. And it's one of those judgment calls: can we deal in the interim and then recruit as a moment? In my view, is given the scale
agencies and people have moved on from the organisation. I think the advantage of EBR would only be down to 2, so 5 of those that actually be critical.
What is it compulsory?
Having 2 positions to lose all the division back.
Okay. Right.
I think we're coming to the finish of this section. We've got the good old car parks to finish off with £100,000 savings, which could be achieved by levying charges on visitors to, well, I would say street country parks and right. Mark, would you like to add to that?
Yeah, thank you, Chair. I think that's the premise of the proposal. So it will be Fort Birch Rock, New Brighton, and then we've got 4 country park sites at William Country Park, Eastern and Arrow Park. The emerging ideas on this is that if this option were accepted, we'd probably look at a tariff on the lines of 60 pence per hour and then up to £2.50, which would be the all-day figure. And then the other idea we've got, on the basis that a lot of the users of these facilities are regular users, taking the dogs for a walk, etc., we'd possibly also look at the idea of an annual permit, for example, something on the lines of £50 per year for somebody that wants to sign up to use these sites. Taking questions.
I feel it's too vague.
Thank you, Chair. Another very contentious issue, something that we've been forced into doing because of the cuts. I'd like to push forward the idea of using modern technology for anything that comes in. There's lots of technology out there for taking in these fees, and are the officers looking at all the technology that we could use right across the world? So my question is, are the officers looking at modern technology to help implement these things? There's councils throughout the country and locally that are using modern technology. Thanks, Chair.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Just very briefly, importantly, these are completely new, different sites and are completely separate to the off-street car parks that the council has in Edinburgh that we have already. But the idea is that in terms of if this option was taken, we'd use the same management team. So the parking services team under Steve Atkins would manage the overall operation, particularly for reasons like that we actually make sure that we look at new technology going forward for all of the council's car parks and other ways of optimising the service as well. And just a final point, Chair, really. So the idea of introducing something like this at essentially what we call parks or leisure kind of sites, certainly a number of members have posed examples to me where if you go over into North Wales, for example, even up to places like Morgan and places like that where we do actually have some fairly low charges in place in exactly this kind of way.
Through you, Chair, I wondered when this item came up what the parking charges would be, and I wondered if it was going to be something like 50p all day, because if you're walking your dog, certainly I walk around a terrier, an hour's period, you might go AWOL and I can find them all day. And for a lot of people going back to the beaches, I would rather, as I said before when I mentioned the brown bin traffic, I shouldn't say that, but I would rather pay an extra £6.50 a year and not have to have charges for the residents of Wirral, have the beaches cleaned and not pay car parking charges. There are a lot of people who can't walk their dogs in any green space other than these areas. And it's not just a social thing for humans, but the dogs interact on there as well. I just think there are some things that should become sacrosanct, and this is one of them. And as I say, I'm quite happy to put my hand in my pocket and pay more on something else to preserve this for the people who are over.
Thanks, Kathy. Yeah, we do have recommendations. We did have a recommendation, which certainly, it would certainly be my view that I distinguish, and I'm going to not accept New Brighton councillors maybe in the process, but I distinguish New Brighton from the other sites because I do think there's a real health and safety issue, and for all the reasons we don't want people, we prefer residents to go to, not drive off miles to local countryside areas to hopefully to have a healthy walk and gain some health benefits. Therefore, and I don't quite see that applies to New Brighton, so my inclination would be let's put the charge into New Brighton. I don't know what the split will be, but the cost of putting in the equipment and everything else is going to be fairly significant, and exactly how much revenue we will raise, I'm not sure whether you've got any ideas for the individual locations, Mark, but I would, from my perspective, I think there is a case for treating the sites not